next up we have Gaurav with billmonk.com.
So several of you guys are already using the service, which is awesome. Vinod, actually, I talked to him earlier in the process, and he said it'd be cool to hear a little bit about starting a company and becoming an entrepreneur, because there are lots of folks in the audience who are interested in doing that. So I decided to put together a little bit of info on that. Right, so billmonk, company that launched. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So the company itself is just me and Chuck. We launched it about a month and a half ago, and like I said, we both worked at Amazon and quit. I quit in mid-October. He quit a little bit before that and gone and traveled and had a good time. My background is technical. I'm a developer. I graduated with a BS in computer science from Rice University. And ever since I graduated, I've been working in development jobs. So I don't have a business experience. I'm going to talk about billmonk. Before that, I'm just going to show you how I answer some of the big questions. Because I was happily employed, and I went off and quit my job and started my own company. So I'm going to start by just asking why. If I'm making a decent salary at a nice company with good future prospects, why throw a wrench into it and change everything? Well, the answer is, everyone knows the answer. It's the money, it's the car, it's the games, right? That's why you become an entrepreneur. And so that's why you quit. And so, it's been a few months now, and I quit, and the money bought me a jumbo experience in Majority Chuck's closet, actually. And my car is my bicycle. I don't own a car. And that's my babe Chuck apartment. Right? So clearly there's more to becoming an entrepreneur than just the end goal of glory, because there's a long path and you may or may not get there. So for me, there was a few driving things. One was I wanted to make a big impact. So at Amazon, I worked on a service which categorized all 30 or so million of the products. And so that's important, you feel good. But in the last 4 weeks, the last 1.5 months, over 4,000 users from all over the world are using something I built. And so that feels really cool. I made a big impact. The other is, I want to work on things I find interesting. And starting your own business is a great way to do that. The other is, if I work my butt off and my manager decides, well, you get an incremental salary raise versus the market says, here are the babes and the car and the money. Or the market says, that was really dumb, you wasted your time. But it's in your hands, and that's really exciting. I also wanted orthogonal challenges. So as a developer, you're going to get to a point where the challenges start coming in the form of working on new projects. And your mastery over time, it doesn't really grow at the same rate. The problems don't become that different. And so I wanted something orthogonal. So PR is something that I'm having to do. My writing skills have gotten a lot better. Presenting in front of an audience is not something I have to do as a developer, and that's fun. And finally, it's a good gamble. If you want to, right now is a good time to be an entrepreneur. The risk versus reward works out. There's a lot of VC money in the market, and it's exciting. So, as far as what to build, I'm going to talk about that in terms of billmonk, but just a few. For me, it was I wanted to do something that solved a real problem, and I think billmonk does that. A lot of people have, we'll get back to that. The other is do something you're good at and you enjoy. So, it would be cool to be a fashion designer, but I don't dress very well, and that just wouldn't work out for me in general. And the other thing is when you think of something new, and when you think of an idea, you think it has to be new and it has to be great. But Google has been doing things that have existed; they've just been doing them better. And then Facebook just targeted niche marketing. So the what part really wasn't that hard personally. And the other one was, well, is now the right time that I should quit and do this? Should I get more work experience? Should I earn some more money first? And it just seemed to make sense. Earlier is better. So if you're thinking about doing this, do it young. You don't have, I don't have a life in spend it all on me. Be very selfish. And then if I totally blow everything I've earned in the last couple of years, well, I have the rest of my life to recoup it. I just turned 26 years old, so life is longer than you think. And then finally, I do think there's some people who leave school and start immediately. Now that's totally fine. I think the 2 years that I've been working has been good for me. There's some general lessons that you learn. Like, what is software? How is software really built in a large company? And what are the politics in an organization? And just how do things happen? And learning that on someone else's time is great. And the other is you'll earn some money, which is starting capital, which really helps. We don't have to go to anyone. We can last for a while. We keep all the equity. And finally, I figured out what I wanted to do. Now's the right time. I just how to go about doing it. And so really, Chuck and I, we researched the idea more. We figured out how to monetize it. And we just really believed it. We believe this is a great thing to do. Committing mentally was, for me, the hardest part. When push comes to shove and you leave that paycheck and the safety of working, and you just go out there and you're like, voila, today I woke up and worked in my boxers all day. And I don't have to report to anyone. Like, how does that work? And doing that mental commitment is hard. So the other is find business partners. You don't want to do this alone for various reasons, and I'll come back to that in a sec. And just go. Especially if you're doing software, you don't need that much money. And Chuck and I are operating our business right out of our apartments, so you don't even need any space. So Bill, what is the problem we solve? So we realized that situations with friends and money can be painful. And came to me, I went on a trip to Europe with 3 of my friends. And on the way there, we were like, we're going to have a great time, we're going to party it up. And we just don't want to worry about money on the way. So how about, someone will always pick up these bills, and you're just responsible. Just write it down, and when we get back, we'll tally up all the bills and figure out who what. So if we're out partying, we just don't want to think about it, but we're bleeding money, at least we'll bleed money happily and figure it out later. So shared vacations is kind of how we thought about it. Road trips, someone gets the hotel, someone gets gas. And then roommates have this problem too. They keep, I lived in a house with 3 other guys, and someone paid for the internet, someone paid for the apartment, and groceries, figuring all that out at the end of the month was a pain. Splitting bills in restaurants in a cashless society. Some restaurants take multiple credit cards, others don't. You can actually use bill on the bill with your cell phone, so that's a great way to go. And then college students, we've seen lots of college students come and start using our services. They use it for everything from like splitting pizza to throwing a big party in their hall. Someone gets the food, someone gets the decorations, someone gets the booze. And then there's college clubs. So you're throwing, you're buying costumes for your big dance show or whatever, and you want your club to pay that. Ultimately, we wanted to remove social awkwardness by just making it automatic. You just put it on someone and you don't worry about it. So the solution came in the form of a website. You log on, you tell us what you paid, who participated. We do the math, figure out who owes who what, and then later you can use this information to settle up. You can also do it on the go with your cell phone, which I'll talk about in a second, and it's free. So how do we make money? I'll come back to that too. Splitting a bill. I decided to do this with screenshots. Our site is live, so you can go play with it later. So in this case, Homer bought movie tickets to see King Kong. So he paid, because friends participated, we all did it evenly. One of them's a student, he paid a little bit less. So we allow you to kind of customize bills as you see fit. We also allow for multiple pairs and all sorts of stuff. But in general, the goal is keep it really simple. After he enters that bill, he can go to the friends page and find out, well, where does he stand? Well, he owes his friends some money, and they owe him some. So he decides, he says, well, Luigi owes me $13. Why is that? So he can click on Luigi and see why. Oh, right, gas we got to get in Portland, and the internet bill, and that gift we split for Sarah. So there's a kind of a transaction history. As far as the cell phone aspect goes, we wanted to keep it really easy to adopt and easy to use. So we went with SMS, which almost every phone can send. To say you should split a bill with somebody, you just tell us the amount, the number of people who split the bill, and an optional description. So 28 free gases, I paid $28 for 3 people. Later you can tell us who those other people were, or you can actually do it on the go, and I can talk about that. You can come ask me how to do that later, or check it out on my website. So how are we actually going to make money? Because it's free. Our goal is to tie in with an online payment system and charge a small transaction fee every time someone chooses to actually settle up online. So not all of our users are going to do this. People living together might just cut each other checks or hand each other cash. However, a lot of our users have asked for it, and we see a lot of bills in the system where people say this was actually settled via PayPal. So what we are doing is creating this big market, tracking every IOU out there in the world, and then we're going to offer financial services to these people to settle up, and later even do things like bill pay. So we're going to make money out of that. At the moment, we're still negotiating fees with some of the big online payment vendors, so stay tuned for that. It's around the corner. Our growth so far has been really good. So, like I said, 1.5 months. It's been over 4,000 users. I mentioned the currencies. We're all over the world now. Almost half our users were referred by people who are already in the system, which is really awesome. And we do get several hundred logins daily, so it's been really sticky. The greatest part is we've spent almost nothing on marketing. So it really comes down to word of mouth in the blogosphere and reaching out to students like you guys. So some of the lessons learned: be cheap, be really cheap. In your personal life, when I started earning income, I was tempted to go buy a fancy car, and I was like, well, if I do that, it kind of restricts what I can do down the road. In business, you don't need those fancy mesh chairs, you don't need lots of ergonomic pads unless you have some sort of whatever. We kept it really cheap, and that really helps you go a long way. Having a partner is awesome. Don't do it alone. You have someone you're accountable to for deadlines. Someone who you can turn around to you and say, that's a really dumb idea, or that's a good idea, let's make it better. And then finally, motivation. You can work really hard if things don't always go well and you need someone. Or when we launched, it was 4 a.m. in the morning and we sat around and drank beer until the sun came up and told stories. And the other is make process just a lot of process. So obviously, if your developers have a code repository, that's a no-brainer. But also have a bug tracking system from day one. Keep a wiki around where you write down one pager on what we're going to do. You'll iron out so many problems before you go any further. For a small company, you think process is pointless, but it's really saved us in many cases. Trust yourself, do postmortem. So you want, I think it was John who was talking about this earlier. Leaders need to make decisions at some point. You do it sometimes without having enough information or being pushed into it. So you have to shoot from the hip. But over time, you want to improve your game. So go back and figure out how good you are at this. The most important lesson has been love your user. We had a user who's been sending us feedback and recently sent us this message saying, I love you guys so much, I've made it my personal mission to get you on the front page of Dating one day. So he tried really hard. Our Dig Score, which is the site where people vote for great stories, and great stories come up on the front page, generate a lot of traffic. So he actually tripled our Dig Score in a day, which was awesome, and sent a lot of users. But they're really good. You're good to them, they're good back to you. Respond to them quickly, be really transparent. When you screw up, admit what you've done, and people will be happy. So that's all I have. Please come talk to me afterwards about Belmont.